Well, welcome to you both. A lot of Jewish leaders out over the last couple of days calling on the Prime Minister to be on the right side of history. He has not come out to defend Benjamin Netanyahu or his defence chief. He's sat on the fence, and if you sit on the fence, you get barbed wire on your backside, and that's not good for a country, nor is it good for an individual. Peter Dutton, though, very, very strong in his condemnation. He thinks Australia should actually boycott this International Criminal Court. Today, he said the court's actions were obviously an anti-Semitic act. But Ed Husick, he's a frontbencher for Labor, he went after Peter Dutton. Have a listen.
Well, the coalition talks big about law and order, but then wants to pick what law and order it'll follow. It's staggering that you can have a mainstream political party determine on the basis of something that is uncomfortable to them, that they would then just turn their back on a court of law. The Prime Minister has said, the courts should be allowed to go about their business without political interference.
Well, James Ashby, I don't know if you heard, but former Prime Minister Tony Abbott was pretty strong. He thinks there's a lot of electorate, Arab vote motivations here for Labor, that they're not doing what's in the national interest.
Yeah, I thought Tony spoke well, and I just see this as a gutless Prime Minister. That's what we've got in Anthony Albanese. Of course he's courting the Muslim vote in this country. It's one of the largest growing religions that we have in Australia. Between 2016 and 21 census, they grew over 30%. We now have over 800,000, and yet the Jewish population make up just under 100,000. So you can see precisely why they are courting those Muslim votes. Now, we've got another census in 2026. I predict the Muslim vote will be over 1 million in this country. So that is what Labor's doing. They're courting the Muslim vote, and sadly, once that population reaches a certain number, like we've seen in England, then the Muslims start demanding changes to our legislation here, like the introduction of Sharia law. How far is Anthony Albanese prepared to court the Muslim vote into the future? It's bad news, Peter. Terrible.
All right, we'll see. Yes, and if you look at the percentage of the Muslim vote in the UK and the distortion of some of their laws over there, points you've just made there, and compare it with the very, very small numbers of Muslim voters in the US and no distortion there, you can see that this is about power and electoral success. I want to go to some other issues, though. I just want to mention, though, Nigel Farage has put out a statement just imminently, a couple of minutes ago. He has confirmed he will stay involved in the reform campaign, but he will not run at the election that has just been called. He's also making it clear, too, he's going to get out there and campaign for the Republicans as well. Hey, Nick, I want to mention Senator Payman. Now, we all know Senator Payman from WA, Labor Senator. She's been turning up at rallies in Victoria at Melbourne University. Now, I don't think a senator would have any entitlement to come to Victoria. I hope she's not using taxpayer funds to hit the protest trail.
I hope she's not using taxpayer funds either, Peter. And if I was a West Australian voter, I'd be asking for a refund, I think, because I don't know, I'm pretty sure there's not many West Australians there in Victoria that she's representing while she's on this trip. So I hope everyone has a very close look at her travel report when it's lodged, and if she's used entitlements, then I think they need to be refunded.
James, on Monday, the World Health Assembly kicks off. High on the agenda. We talked about this last night with Senator Antic, this new global pandemic treaty. Give us your assessment of what's on the table.
Well, the simple truth is we're going to be handing over any of those decision-making powers on Australia's health during a pandemic to a foreign body, the UN. And the issue that I see with this is we've got numerous pandemics across the world. Anything from influenza is deemed a pandemic. It just depends on how severe it is in certain countries and how far it spreads. And I know very well that doctors here have a different view, especially during COVID, on how that should have been managed to the way in which the UN and the World Health Organization forced basically the Chinese model on the rest of the globe. So this is bad news. Anthony Albanese, the Labor Party and all members of government should all say, no, we're not signing up to this. Don't send your bureaucrats over there. Stop sending and passing the buck here. This has to be a decision for Australia. The answer is clear. No. No Australian wants it.
Hey, Nicole, we've got another. We had the co-chair yesterday, Nova Peris, resign, and now we've got another co-chair go under the bus. This time the bloke that she resigned over, Craig Foster. They're both gone, so there's no one running the Australian Republican movement. Great opportunity to shut it down, I reckon.
Yeah, perfect timing, Peter. And, and not just that, Anthony Albanese could also abolish the position of the Assistant Minister for the Republic because last time I checked, he had done no work in his portfolio.
I like things just the way they are. I'd be very happy with that outcome. Nicole, James, have a terrific weekend. Thank you. See you both next week. All right, that's it for me. You have a good weekend too. It's cold down here in Melbourne, but I'll warm up over the weekend and see you on Monday at 6.